As if Mercedes didn't have enough worries on their minds, they had to go through a Hamilton and Russell incident right at the start of the Qatar Grand Prix. Not only that, but Russell was looking more than able to fight for the podium, and the fact that he even got fourth place is astonishing. With this not even being the first time something like this happens, and with the team slamming both of its drivers, could we see a disruption of the all-British relationship in Brackley? In the second ever Formula One race held in Qatar, Max Verstappen reinforced his dominance and added spice to the third world title. But the race began with a crash between Mercedes drivers Lewis Hamilton and George Russell at turn 1. Verstappen and Russell, two of the race's early favourites, both opted for medium tyres at the green flag. In contrast, Hamilton put new soft tyres on his car, a decision which I found somewhat surprising, because the soft tyre tends to wear out quickly, as we saw in the sprint race, and with maximum fuel load, it won't hold up for long. Perhaps the optimal strategy might have been to go for a combination like medium-medium, or perhaps medium-hard, medium-soft. The latter, in my opinion, would have been a solid choice. Interestingly, that's essentially what most teams ended up doing on the day, and therefore Hamilton's decision to start on soft tyres struck me as unconventional. The only way that could make sense is that they were banking on the soft tyres' superior launch performance and early grip advantage. Perhaps they intended for Hamilton to make a strong initial push, surpass George, and potentially challenge Max. Basically, the idea might have been to disrupt the race order, and if Hamilton somehow managed to get ahead of Max and perhaps slow him down, there could have been an opportunity for the two Mercedes drivers to collaborate and achieve an extraordinary outcome. But fate had other plans for the seven-time world champion, and as Hamilton was negotiating the first turn, he collided with Russell's front left, damaging Russell's front wing and sending Hamilton careening into the gravel and ending his race. In spite of his initial disappointment, expressed over team radio as "my teammate took me out," which he later tweeted was 100% his fault, he eventually came to accept as the truth. Given that Hamilton was on the quicker starting tyre and would certainly pass with more grip, it's possible that Hamilton would argue that Russell made a mistake by positioning his car where he did. This miscommunication clearly had significant repercussions for Mercedes in this race, which will necessitate better strategy in future battles, and it may also explain why, despite his initial anger, Russell was quick to convey to his team that he didn't even consider Hamilton because his focus was on racing Verstappen. Looking back, it's unclear what else Russell could have done to help Hamilton complete the pass to the outside. He either needed more speed or a wider trajectory to make it around the curve safely. The fact that Hamilton said after the race that they had discussed the strategy and that they had both hoped to finish on the podium makes this whole thing even more bizarre. We spoke about it, and from our side I said this morning, "I just want us both to be sitting on that podium," Russell told Sky F1. "My goal now is to try and get P2 for the team," and even though I agreed, we spoke about Lewis going ahead at turn 1. That, as I said, was just a very difficult situation. Before the race, George we knew we had different tyres, so he was like, "Let's just work together today." So we were talking about just working together. And again, it was not our plan to come together. We were just really gutted for the team. We've all worked so hard to be in that position, and I'm just really sad for everyone for my part in it. It came as no surprise that the team defended both drivers. On the one hand, Toto Wolff may think that this accident was an exception for his normally dependable driver, but on the other, he may have lingering doubts about the odd lack of precision from his usually razor-sharp racer. Given how infrequent Hamilton's blunders are, when they do occur, especially in as striking a fashion as this one, they tend to be examined closely. Russell's internal reaction to the occurrence will be more important, as he's expected to accept the apologies graciously since he has done so in public. Still, he might feel tempted to use it to his advantage, if only to end a painful season on a high note and maybe plant some doubt in his teammates' mind about how serious he is winning in 2024. Russell would greatly benefit from this tactic if he were paired with any of his teammates in the adjacent garage. The historical trend indicates, though, that Hamilton will have already moved on from it fairly quickly after the race, transferring his mental attention to the Austin GP in 2 weeks' time. If the chance to do something similar arises again, he won't think twice about taking it, though this time it will be with more forethought. Because Hamilton has made mistakes in the past couple of years, and because he has gone from dominating Formula One to contending in the fiercely competitive midfield, this incident raises the question of whether this is the end of the phase in his career in which he is regarded as an elite overtaker or excels in wheel-to-wheel situations. This event, though, stands out. He had the chance to pull out on the outside, but he misread the scenario because he was on the softer tyre and his competitors would have a slower start, leading to a potentially dangerous three-wide situation into turn 1. This wasn't a surprise that arose in the middle of the race, it was something that could have been predicted beforehand. Reviewing it, I'm not surprised that Hamilton eventually confessed culpability. Defending against such a maneuver is really difficult. Mercedes communication chief Bradley Lord said that despite the start being discussed between their drivers before the race, they still can't program everything to make it go according to plan, with the goal now being to ensure that lessons are learned so that this situation does not arise again. We discussed it in the morning, so it was a scenario we've been through, and obviously the different start tyre performance and things like that, Lord told Sky F1. And then I think in the moment they just all ran out of space. George obviously had nowhere to go, Lewis was trying to take his line, and we saw what happened. Unfortunately, these things can happen, and you can't program everything, even with a discussion beforehand. But we'll talk about it afterwards as we do, go through it, and learn what we can to hopefully never have it happen again. Hamilton and Russell are each trying to outdo the other in a way that benefits the team. They've both been making blunders that have been detrimental to the team's performance. Even if their teammates will publicly defend them, they probably shouldn't attend the next team meeting. Russell must be feeling this, and Hamilton's robust defense in Japan must have given him some moral high ground in terms of playing for the team, but they and the team need to figure out some rules of engagement so that the on-track scrapping doesn't destroy the cohesion they need to become a title-challenging team again. Will this have a negative impact on their relationship? Since Zandvoort 2022, when George put on new sorts rather than play rearguard for Lewis, relations between the two have been tense, and I predict that this will continue until Mercedes institutes very strict rules. And even then, who knows if it will work, because both drivers believe they are the number one, and neither is willing to accept a number 2 role. After the Qatar Grand Prix, Hamilton is adamant that he and Russell will continue to get along wonderfully. He claims that after conflicts of this nature, they always sit down and discuss. I think the fact that Lewis recognized his error and apologized immediately aided, as did George's ability to keep going and eventually achieve a respectable outcome. Russell, however, had a goal in mind, and his ambitions are so high, in fact, that he finished above his teammate in last season's standings and will be ruining a few errors this year, which means he currently trails Hamilton by 62 points and is languishing in the 8th spot, now below Lando Norris. Behind the impeccable politeness is intense competitiveness, and Russell is not interested in playing second fiddle, which sets up a fascinating subplot for the final 5 races of the season in the Americas. Things are heating up in the Mercedes garage to the point where someone or something may have to give. After missing Japan and Qatar because he was recovering from knee surgery, Toto Wolff called on Sunday to talk Russell down. He will undoubtedly return to Austin in 2 weeks. After the mishaps at the last 2 races, both drivers might use the support of their boss. The two Brits appear to still respect one another, but for how much longer? Let us know in the comments below what you think about this situation. Could Russell and Hamilton's relationship have a lasting impact on Mercedes' chances of competing for a title next year? Thank you for watching this video, and we will see you in the next one.